Focus 3-8, Alley Cat.
And go ahead for focus rate.
Focus 3-8, Alley Cat. Hoover requests Focus 3-8 push to balloon 20 and try to contact.
Roger, and if you stop on this free carrier.
Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lobo. The channel's called ZooPf Visual Effects. Of course, this is a visual effects channel, guys. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you dig what you're watching right now, you guys know what to do. Like and subscribe, as it always helps me make more videos like this. And for those of you who are actually visual effects artists, I know you already know how to do this, but if you still think it's cool, give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hey, subscribe to my channel and I'll do the same for you, okay? That being said, some of you might be wondering, where have I been? It's been a month and nothing came out from my channel, and you know what? I usually come out with 1 or 2 tutorials per week, but I haven't done anything lately, and the reason why is because I just moved into a new place and it took me about a month to finally settle down, and I'm settling down. Also, I've been working hard in learning to open an online business. I've been working with some pros to teach me how to do this. The hope, guys, is to wake up every day and just work from home and make a pretty good living so that you can do whatever you want, okay? Hopefully that is a goal for you too, but that's mine right now. That being said, what I'm gonna want to do today is teach you guys how I did this using After Effects, Element 3D, and Andrew Kramer's new plugin called VCR to create the Earth, okay? Not that one, but the one you saw before, this one right here, okay? Let's go ahead and minimize this right now. I'm gonna go ahead and start on my YouTube tutorial folder right here, new composition. I'm gonna do everything at 4K, and I'm just gonna call that Planet Landing. If you guys can't do 4K, keep it at 1080p, totally cool. And go to layer, new solid, call that one Planet Landing as well. Alright, and as you guys know, I cannot spell anytime, every time. Go down to Effects, Videocopilot, and Element. Once we get here, go to Scene Setup. If I'm moving really fast, I'm assuming that you guys know how to use After Effects and Element 3D. But if I'm moving too fast and you're a newbie, sorry. I guess I'll try to slow down. But I always try to beat the time here because my tutorial is so long, and I just want to beat the time so that people don't get bored. You know, I mean, tutorial is supposed to only be about 25 minutes, and it's so hard to stay within that time, okay? So what I want to do right now, I want to import, but I do want to go from this folder right here called tutorial 26 for YouTube. Download that folder, it's beneath the description tab, plus a link to all of these awesome 3D modeling artists who created these very cool things for us to use. All the credit goes to them. I just use their creation to create some cool scenes, okay? We're gonna start with the space element pack here, mountain, desert. Once you get here, click OK. Click here, draft textures to see its highest resolution. Once we're here as well, you need to click normalize size so it fits properly within Element 3D. Once we are here, we're gonna go ahead and put a texture on it right away. And it's gonna be under wherever you guys left your stuff. Mine will be under tutorial 26, OBJ, space element pack, mountains, and desert. Once it's here, click OK, go down to normal bump and click that. Go down to this section here, click 30. And we also want to get rid of that gloss, too much gloss. Mountain doesn't gloss like that unless if it's like crystal. And take that environment multiplier down to about this same thing, 2, intensity to about 2, just like that. That looks pretty good, okay? Now, a texture from a mountain will always look great from a far distance, but as soon as you get close, it might not look great anymore. And the reason is because let's say you have a specific scene and it's like this. You wouldn't put an 8K texture of a mountain. What you would do instead is just paint it from this view so that it looks super amazing, and then that's the shot that you're going to use for whatever you're trying to do, okay? So that's something I've had to figure out the hard way. Even if this texture is in 20K, it's still gonna look horrible once you zoom right in, okay? Because it's never gonna look clear unless if you specifically paint it, if that's the shot you're going for. All right, that being said, let's move on. We want to duplicate this, so let's go ahead and just do Control D, duplicate it, click Shift, and move it in increments, just like that. All right, and once we're here, Control D as well, increments down, just like this. but here's the problem right here. How do we fix that? We fix that by just clicking on Z, boom, and it's fixed. Then you can decide how much you want to get close to that mountain and just Control D and do the same thing right here. Okay, so that looks pretty cool right there. And just for fun, I'm gonna do Control D and I'm gonna move this over here, but I'm going to, you know, give it a different look and then just make, see, that looks pretty good right there. There you go. And what's gonna happen is our city is just gonna be right there covering this little area here. Okay, so let me see. No, it's not from this. So I wonder if it's from this. Yeah, it's from all of these, and that's fine. Okay, so let's go and click here to create a new folder, and we'll call that mountains, and that is where we're gonna throw our mountains in there. There you go. And we're gonna create a new folder as well. Double click on that, and we're gonna call that city. Click OK. Now once we have this like this, the next thing we have to do is we have to click this icon here, and we have to take it to the center of our scene here as best as we possibly can. Then click that again, and then whoops, oh, I did the wrong thing. Awesome, you're pretty awesome. There you go, that's more like it. And then you take it to the center. All right, and might as well fix that as well since we are here, since we already did it for our city. There it is. Okay, and this will allow us to make sure that our 3D OBJ is right in the center in After Effects. Click OK here, and then there it is. Let's go down and new. Let's create a new camera. I like mine to be a 50mm, but you guys can do whatever you want. And also, let's go and create some lights. So we're gonna create some light really quick. Parallel light is one of my favorite because it acts like real lights. And let's grab our camera and see what happens. It's pretty good right now, but once we put some shadows in, you will see for yourself what will happen. First, let's go and do the ambient occlusion. I'm gonna crank that up to about 5, and let's go down to lighting. That looks good. Shadows, and let's crank it up to 8K here, and let's go and do parallel light. Let's crank that up too. And well, actually to my surprise, it didn't actually do it, which is pretty good. Sometimes you'll have OBJs when as soon as you turn some lights on and you put some shadows, the texture, not the texture, but the mesh, you can't see the mesh. It's like it's transparent, and so when that happens, all you have to do is go to advanced and click here to use the back face. Okay, as soon as you use the back face, then all the OBJs show up with the light into the shadows. All right, that being said, I'm glad it didn't happen here. Now let's go and do a 2 view right now, so we just can put our light where we want it to be. I think you know what, I need to see what I'm doing here, because this is a shot we're gonna be using right here. Okay, just like that. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good right there. That looks pretty good right there. That's fine. Okay, so let's just quickly go in and go immediately into our shot scene here. Let's go back to a 1 view, and I mean that looks pretty good for our shot scene right here. Okay, and let's go and save really quick. Boom, just like that. Once we are here, let's go back down to our scene setup. And now we're just gonna throw in our sci-fi city. Okay, and that's what we need to do. So there it is right here, and let's import from our space element pack. Let's go in and do the OBJs, and all these have been brought from Blender, because when you download the file, it's a Blender file, and then once you open it in Blender, then you have all the OBJs there, but then you have to export all the OBJs into another folder to have them each here, because we're not working in Blender, we're working in After Effects using Element 3D. I hope that made sense. I should be a rapper. Alright guys, so yes, I did fast forward that part so that you guys wouldn't be sitting there watching me to do this for like 65 million hours, okay? That being said, when you are done, it should look just something like this, which looks pretty cool, right guys? That was my creation. You guys could do whatever you want. If you were trying to copy the way I did mine, then it should look something like this. I actually added a couple more things for this one, so it will look even, I guess, more cool than the one that I created, which is totally okay? So once it looks like this, that's exactly what you want. And we are not going to texture these because it would take way too long to texture. You guys should know how to texture by now, but if not, we will be texturing the shuttle, so that one needs to be textured. I found the free OBJ for that one, then I took it to Quixel and professionally textured it for you, okay? That being said, let's click OK here and see how it looks in our Element 3D and After Effects here, and it actually looks pretty cool. All right, and from here you guys can totally decide how you want things to look. So this looks pretty cool actually, so I'm going to leave it like this, and the shadow looks pretty good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be bringing in the shuttle. Plus there was also, if you guys paid attention to the scene, there was like a car, what is it, maybe like a car shuttle just passing through here too, as the shuttle was flying through here, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is we are going to be bringing in that shuttle there really quick. So that's the city, and now we're gonna call that, create a new folder and just call that ground shuttle. There it is. And let's go ahead and do an import, and it's in the OBJs and it's in the shuttle, and it's the one that you want to bring for this one, okay? Oh, actually that's the space shuttle, I'm sorry. It's right here, exploration truck, and it is I went to the wrong one. There it is, and it's this one right here. I also took this truck to Quixel and professionally textured for you guys, and once again, I'm not taking credit for how that truck looks. It's credit goes straight to the person who made it themselves, okay? So we're just gonna click on this and it's gonna pop up there, okay? And you might be wondering why it's color coded. Before you can take anything into Quixel, you have to color code it, and so I took it to Blender and color coded everything. And that actually will be a tutorial I will be doing, because a lot of people have personally emailed me and asked me how to do this, so I'll go ahead and do that too. So what we want to do now is we want to pivot that to this side here, and I'm just going to actually, you know what, I'm not going to use this one, I'm sorry. There is another one that I should just, there it is. And what I want to do is I want to bring this one here instead, because it's just one color and it's just like this, and it's perfectly okay, because I just kind of wanted to match my scene better. But what you want to do is take it to the center, okay, just like that, so that it shows up right in the center. And the one thing about this one here is the wheels are turning, okay? And so in Blender, I made the wheels all turn back in one direction, and then I color coded it, okay? So, but for tutorial purposes, we don't care about this right now. There it is. There you go. So it just shows up in the middle. Okay, once we are here, size. We have to make sure that it matches as best as possible to everything. So just go and do 2. Zoom in, and does 2 look good? Absolutely not. 2 looks ridiculous. All right, we see this right here. We just got to get rid of this. Okay, now that it's like that, let's just go and take it back to the center. What we want to do for this is we want to make this a channel 2. I mean, not channel 2, but a group 2, okay? Because it needs to be controlled on its own using a null, and we're fine with that. Everything else can stay as is. So let's click OK. And of course our space station has shrunk and actually looks better now because it is kind of proportioned to the size of the mountains, and our shadows look pretty good too. And here's our truck right there, and it's totally fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of our last thing here, which is our shuttle. So create a new folder and call that shuttle. Go to import tutorial 26 NASA shuttle, and that's the one you want. Oops, there it is right there. Click here just like that. All right, so let's go ahead and just texture really quick. Okay, so you're gonna see all of these right here. Okay, this is what Quixel gives you. It gives you texture that you will use in a 3D modeling application software. Okay, and so what you have to do in After Effects is you kind of have to combine the albedo and the specular, which I did right here, and it gave me this, and then you just lay it on top of there just like that. And let's take it down to just like this, and it looks something like this. Okay, so let's zoom in really quick, and that's really good texture. It's professional textures from Quixel. It looks really cool, and the only thing you have to do is just decide what kind of gloss you want on top of that. All right, so I'm gonna crank this up, and I'm just gonna crank this up because I like this look right here. So when you see that look, that's kind of what you want right there. Okay, so that's total cool right there. And then the next thing you have to do is you just have to bring the gloss right here just like that, and then click OK, and it's gonna give it a totally different look because the gloss is the one that came from Quixel. Okay, so once you are here, then you can decide too what kind of gloss you want to give it. So 40 is nice right here, and then you have to decide if you want to give it more gloss, and what about that, let's give it more environment multiplier, and so you have this kind of look now. Okay, so you can totally give it the look that you want. It's totally up to you guys. Okay, you get to decide the look that you want, and if you want more shine, then you just just crank things up, crank this up just like that. I think more shine looks better. There you go. All right, okay, and so once you're here, you have to bring the bump too, and the bump is right there. Okay, and on these bump, I usually just like to crank it up to about 200. Boom, just like that. So we have better looking bump here. Okay, just like that. All right, so this is, I just wanted to show you guys this, and do the rest on your own. Okay, this is a tutorial, we don't have time to do that. The reason why I showed it to you guys is how to texture this model coming from Quixel. All right, click OK, and everything's looking good. Whoop, except for this plane should actually be all the way in the center as well. It'll be much easier for us to control it once it's in the middle. Okay, click OK, and there it is right there. So if we take our camera and we zoom in, everything looks pretty darn good. Okay, so that's kind of what we want, and just take it back to the shot that you were looking at, and that looks pretty good right there. I'm gonna save it right now, and we'll be moving on to part 2, which is moving everything. Alright guys, so if you were totally on the moon, this would be perfect, and actually you just need one light, because in space, wherever the light is coming from a star. Okay, unless you have stars around your scene, everything else will be lit. But if it's only coming from one angle, then this scene actually looks pretty good for lighting. But if you are on a planet that actually has a sun going into it, then there's lighting everywhere. So just for the sake of having fun, let's go in and light this whole entire scene a little bit better. And so we already have our light here coming from this angle, so we'll go and keep using that. But we're going to create a new light as well before we start moving everything around here. And I'm going to make that actually 50. And what I actually want to do for this light is I want to take it to the very top of our scene. Okay, so as you guys can see, it's totally created a different kind of lighting, and now you have more of a, you know, lighting coming from as if this is a planet, and you know the light is hitting everything, and that's how it's supposed to look like. Because, you know, light on Earth, the sun could be coming from one way, but everything is still lit because the light bounces off everything else. So this light, you have to decide if you want to keep it there. If you want to keep it there, cool, but if you just want to keep it how it was, because it's creating some cool shadows, you can scan too. I kind of like this shadow right here, kind of just gives it a little bit of more realism. Then once we are here, we also want to create a new light, but we actually want to make this a kind of like an ambient light. And so as the ambient light, just make that about 10. As you can see, I'll do something completely different, and it's lighting our scene too. So for the ambient light, you can totally change the color if you want, make it red, you know, and anything. See, and what I'll do is it'll kind of light everything else in that color too, and you can do the same thing for the other ones too, but that's totally up to you guys. Okay, for me, I'm gonna keep this orange because that was kind of what we were trying to do. So I'm gonna say about right there. There you go. And that looks pretty good for me, just like that. Okay, and so that's kind of like your 3-point light system. One on top, you have your master light here that is coming from your light source, the sun or a star, and then you have your ambient light. And guys, get crazy with the lights if you want, but I just don't have time to do that right now. I just want to light this scene just like this because we're going to be putting a background and back too. Okay, now if you guys don't want to do that, then you guys can just keep it as is, and it's a moon, you're landing on a moon. Okay, but we don't want to do that either. And so let's go ahead and click save really quick, and let's just go ahead and bring that back moon back there. Okay, there was a back moon back there, so we have to do that too. Okay, and for that, was very simple, guys. So what I did is I kept the scene just the way it was. It was like this, and then I created a new folder, and I'll just call that moon, and just brought it like this. That's my scene right there, and so I just put it right there just like that and make sure it was up, and I kind of cranked that up to about 50, and from there I textured it with using this texture right here. OBJ and random planet texture. I use this one. Or is it this one? Is this one? Is this one? Yep, it was this one right here, just like that. And then I created this bump map in Quixel too, so that was kind of cool. And what I did was I just took that down to 50, and there was, you know, it's that maybe 10, and I took that down to about right there, just like that. Took that about 2, and once it was right there, I went down here and I took the opacity to about right there. Oops. Because then in the background I had some clouds and stuff, and then I also created, once it was like this, there it is right there. And then if you want it to be lower, you can fix that too, because then what I did is I went down to fog and I fogged it as well, so it was more of a gray that I wanted, just like that. So everything that is far in the background is just fogged, and you guys can decide the intensity of how much you want. And I'm gonna go back in here and I'm just gonna lower this so it's kind of like this, boom, just like that. So group 2 was the that little truck right there up there, and so all you guys have to do is create a null, and boom, once it's created, just bring it down here. Of course, name it to how you want it, but let's go in and do 2 views so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Click on that and do top view. You see, the reason why we put it in the middle is so that when you null it, it's right in the middle. Okay, because if it was over here and you nulled it, it still would be in the middle and the truck is way over there. All right, so you don't want that. You want to make sure everything's in the middle so you can move it as you want. So once we are here, let's just go back to one view very quick, and all you have to do is control the null. Okay, so let's see what that whole thing looks like. That little truck goes first and our plane goes after that. Okay, and so that's pretty much how I do this for this part. So just want to make sure you guys know how to do that. And guys, it's totally up to you guys to control the plane, and the best way to control the plane is to just make that into a 2 view, and then you know exactly where the plane is going. You can see its trajectory with the car, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, that's the best way to control things. Alright, that being said, that takes care of putting the moon back there and also controlling our OBJs. Okay guys, the next step is just to do our HDRI scene here with some clouds in the background. We're going to create our smoke coming from that mountain and some smoke coming from the car, and we're also going to make that little thing here spin so it looks more cool. So let's get started right away. Let's go into scene setup. And once we are here, we have to go to our group folder, go to create a sphere, and what you want to do is you want to put that sphere in the middle as best as you possibly can, and then you want to crank it up so it goes over the square here. Okay, and because if it doesn't do that, you know, After Effects scene, the lights are gonna be on the outside of the circle, which means it's not gonna light our scene in there. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And then you go here, let's go ahead and put a texture on it. So I just went ahead and purchased the HDRI sky from Videocopilot so that I would have all of them at my disposal. I highly suggest you guys to do the same thing. It's really hard to find something that works on Google for HDRI, so if you have that, then it's best. Then we're gonna crank up the glossiness, we're gonna crank up the environment multiplier, and the secret to making it go on the inner is to simply click here, which is invert normals. Once you are here, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Yep, I think so too. Alright, so that looks pretty cool. Okay, once we are here, what we want to do now is create a new folder, and we're going to put that box sky in that folder. Okay, so we're just going to call that sky, click OK, and you just want to take that into a new group. So group 4, click OK. Now it's going to look very weird at first, but don't worry about it. And then we're going to go back to one view so we can see what we're doing a little bit better. What you want to do is, let's just go ahead and for now just shut the fog so we can see things a little bit better. Okay, and we want to bring the box sky down a little bit, and as you guys can see, when we bring it down, it's shutting off the lights. Okay, so we don't want that. So we still want it to be just about to a point where it's not shutting any lights out. And then what you want to do is you want to rotate it to find a spot that works properly for you. Okay, and so the sun is over here, so I think about right there looks pretty good. And then we're just gonna take it back up so it's more believable that it's high up in the sky, just like that. There you go, that looks pretty good right there. And now what we want to do is, we have two choices. We can take our moon and pass the OBJ, or we can just take this moon here and just phase it out more. So let's go back here and take it down here and just do about 8 perhaps, and click OK, and see it's giving us that distance. It's in a far distance. And then when we reapply our fog, all we have to do is decide how much we want. Not maybe just like at the most, maybe just 3%. It's gonna give us that effect that it's really far in the distance, and to give it even more realism, I would say take that to about 5. There it is, just like that. Okay, and that looks pretty good just as is, because when you start color grading, it's gonna make it look even more that it's in a far distance. All right, so that takes care of that. That takes care of our sky. Now let's go ahead and bring in our smoke. And so let's go back here, and I'm just gonna throw anything in there right now because it's a tutorial. A little messy, but it's okay. All right, so go to here. And guys, I got all these from the Action Pack Essential, and that was a long time ago when 720p was awesome. Now 1080p is okay, but 4K is the way to go. Okay, so the pack is 2K, you can still purchase it, and 2K is fine because you're not covering the whole entire scene, so 2K is perfect. But the one that I got was a while ago, and it was 720p. Okay, so video footage, and it is right here. Dark smoke, puffy smoke. I think it's the dark smoke. And then all I did was I brought it right to the planet, and when I did that, there it is right there. I just move it about right here, and as you can see, it's gonna go about right there, just like that, right? So that's why it works perfectly. So what you want to do is you just want to scale it up just a tiny bit, and then just move it where you want it to move. So about right there looks good. And then you just zoom in to the scene a little bit and grab your pen tool and whoops, oh no, actually that works. Just kind of conform it to the mountain as best as you possibly can, and then it's just gonna shut that off. And what you want to do is you want to invert it just like that, and then you want to go back here and you just want to feather it out as best as you possibly can so it looks believable. All right, so that looks pretty good right there. And then okay, just like that. So when you move this, you scroll this through, there it is. All right, but the problem is it's going up like this. So what you have to do is about right there, that's exactly what we wanted, right? So we go like this constantly. So once you get right there, you just constantly go like that, and then once you go there, you just have to fade in, fade out, fade in, fade out. I'm not gonna do it right now because I just want to show you guys how to do it. Okay, so if you did it properly, it will look just like this, but because we're not fading in, fading out, it just kind of repeats itself. But if you do fade in, fade out, then it doesn't repeat itself. And so let's say if you make this one bigger, okay, it gives it like a different look too, and it gives it dimension. All right, and that's kind of what you want to do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense for the smokes, and that takes care of the smoke right there. Now let's go ahead and make that spin. So let's go here, scene setup, and we have to go back to our city. And oh my gosh, I mean, this is a whole entire mess, right? It's all right, guys. It's a tutorial, so I didn't organize anything. You guys should organize stuff, okay? And the best way to click on each individual thing is to use your right click mouse. You click on that, it goes right to it. Okay, once it goes right to it, it shows you exactly where it's at. And just to make sure it's the right one, if you click it out, it disappears. Okay, so once we are here, we just want to make sure this is in auxiliary channel 1, and that's how it's going to spin. And once it's there, you also have to make sure that it's right in the center as best as possible. But as you can see here, is it? So if I go like this, I know that it's not, so I just have to take it to the center. By taking it into the center, when you spin it, it's gonna spin right to that center, because if it's right here, when it spin, it's gonna do some weird lobe spinning, and you don't want that. That looks very awkward. Okay, once it's like this, click OK, and then we know that it's in group 1, channel 1, and all we have to do is go down to the rotation, and you can either keyframe a spin, or you can write an expression. So alt click that, and right here just write time times 5, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna spin on its own for 5 rotations. So let's check this out. See, you see that? Kind of cool, right? I know, really cool. Okay, so that takes care of that spin right there. All right, that takes care of that. And for the car smoke, we need to do this on its own. Alright guys, the next step is just to create the smoke right here for the car. So let's go ahead and click on new. We're going to create a new solid. We're just going to call that car smoke. Click enter, and we have to go to our particle playground here. I wish Adobe would have a greater focus on the particle system, but because they don't, we have to use third-party plugins, and you know, I just wish they had more focus on that. And we're gonna use the Canon here and the gravity. So for the gravity, we wanna, you know, the force, we wanna control the force to go like this, and then we just want to switch our force to a direction that makes sense to us, and then we're gonna also go to direction here. There you go. And we kind of want to go like this, so it's just a matter of playing with this to make sure that it works, to make it do what we want it to do. And I swear, only in After Effects does the particle is so difficult to control compared to any other third-party plugin. Okay, once we are here, let's just crank up the barrel radius a little bit, and let's give it more particles per second. So let's go about 400, and it's gonna give you this. Once you are here, that looks pretty good. Maybe we'll do some random seed to about maybe 60, random spread direction to about 54, and see what we get. That looks a little bit better like that. And then we have to go back here and we have to type in fast blur, and once we throw that in there, that's how we're gonna create our smoke. So because I have so much here, I'm thinking it needs to be about 12, and that looks pretty good. And now let's turn that white and watch the magic. Alright, so it looks pretty good right there. So all we have to do then is just bring that down to about where the car is. And as you guys can tell now, my computer now is you know, processing it pretty hard. And the more things you pack within Element 3D, the more it's gonna be taxing on your computer. And I think the very taxing part is a whole entire OBJ scenes here with all the textures and everything. Okay, so that looks pretty good right there, and I think we should go even more crazy with the smoke. So let's crank that up to 50, see what we get. I know, you know what, yeah, and how about if we crank this up, see what we get here. That looks good. Now let's take the radius to about 3, and I think it's gonna make a huge difference. There it is right there, because it's making a huge difference. Just take that back down to 350, and let's take that down to 40. And now let's make this 20. There you go. That looks so much better now. Okay, and guys, how you control the smoke falling in the car is just with the position. Okay, so don't get crazy, guys. The position is right here. So when the car is about right there, and is going to load it, of course, hopefully it won't break my computer down here. When it's right here, just move this over, okay? And so it makes the smoke follow the car, right? That's pretty much how you do this for the smoke here, okay guys? And that takes care of that. Alright guys, it looks like I ran out of time. The tutorial went a little bit longer than I wanted to. Because of that, I was not able to show you guys the Palnet scene at the start of the video. However, if you guys go on videocopilot.net, Andrew Kramer has a tutorial for his new plugin called VC-ARB. Okay, that being said, it's a cool plugin. Check it out, look at the tutorial, learn from him as well. And as usual, if you guys dig what you saw today, please like and subscribe, as it always helps me make more videos like this. If you are a visual effects artist and you thought this was cool too, like and subscribe to the channel so I can do the same back for you. That being said, my name is Lobo, the channel is called ZooPf Visual Effects, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye now.